I'm going to tell you the story of Passover. A long, long time ago, the Jewish people moved from Israel down to Egypt, where there was plenty of food and water for their flocks. They all had animals that they needed to take care of. The story begins like this. The king of Egypt was called the Pharaoh. King Pharaoh made the Jewish people his slaves. They had to work day and night and build cities for the Pharaoh.
Work, slaves, work.
The Jewish people worked day and night. Work, 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 every day and every night. For it's work, 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 when it's dark and when it's night. Bang, 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 hold your hammer low. Bang, 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 give a mighty blow. For it's work, 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 every day and every night. For it's work, 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 when it's dark and when it's light. Dig, 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 with your shovel deep. Dig, 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 there's no time to sleep. For it's work, 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 every day and every night. For it's work, 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 when it's dark and when it's light. The Pharaoh made a decree.
All the new Jewish baby boys must get out of town.
One Jewish mommy named Yocheved had a beautiful baby boy. She didn't want anything bad to happen to her baby, so she wrapped him up in a blanket and put him in a basket. Yocheved put her baby into the Nile and sent him down where he would be safe. She wanted nothing bad to happen to him. The baby got stuck. Oh no! Miriam, his sister, was watching him. This is where the princess liked to swim. The Pharaoh's daughter was the princess. She liked to swim in the same spot every day. I love to swim here in the Nile River. Oh, what's this I see? It's a baby. Oh, what a beautiful baby. I'll call him Moses. One day Moses went for a walk, and he saw one of the Pharaoh's men being really mean to a slave. And Moses says, I don't want to live like this anymore. So he became a shepherd and he went to a different city to live where the Pharaoh and his men were not mean. Moses was taking care of his sheep. He was walking in the countryside and he saw a bush. The bush was burning. There were flames, but the bush wasn't on fire. Moses got a little closer and said, what's going on here? God spoke to Moses through the bush and said, Moses, you must help the people. They are slaves in Egypt. You must help them leave Pharaoh to freedom. And Moses says, me? But I'm just a regular guy. And God said, Moses, it must be you. Moses came back to Egypt. God had said, you must go to the Pharaoh and ask the Pharaoh to let my people go. Oh, listen, oh, listen, oh, listen, King Pharaoh. Oh, listen, please let my people go. They want to go away. They work so hard today. King Pharaoh, what do you say?
No, no, no. I will not let them go.
God sent Moses back 10 times to ask Pharaoh to let him go. And each time God sent a plague. And each time Pharaoh said,
No, no, no. I will not let them go.
One of the plagues that God sent down was frogs. One morning when Pharaoh awoke in his bed, there were frogs in his bed and frogs on his head. Frogs on his nose and frogs on his toes. Frogs here, frogs there. Frogs were jumping everywhere. The last plague was the worst plague. Aaron and Moses went to the Pharaoh one last time and said, "Pharaoh, this is it. If you don't let our people go, God will take your firstborn son and all the firstborn sons." But alas, the Pharaoh still said,
"No, no, no, I will not let them go."
God told the Jewish people, "I will pass over your house, but I will take Pharaoh's sons, and when I am done, you will leave Egypt." God sent the last plague, and finally the Pharaoh told the Jewish people to go. They took everything they had, their sheep, their camel, and all their clothes. They put their bread on their back and ran to the desert. The desert sun was hot. The bread did not have time to rise, so it baked on their back, and it turned into matzah. The Jewish people walked and walked, and finally they came to a big, big body of water. How were they going to get across? Pharaoh changed his mind and came after the Jewish people. Moses stood into the water, and the sea parted, and the Jewish people were free. They crossed the sea on dry land. There was water on either side. When all the Jewish people were at the other side, the seas closed, and the Pharaoh and his men were unable to hurt the Jewish people, and they became free. We remember this holiday as Passover.